I turned 1 year older this month. I find growing up such an exciting thing. It's like this journey to learn more about myself and the person that I want to become. Every year and with every reflection I make on myself, I find more clarity on who I am, the woman I'm becoming, and the path I'm taking to reach my next level. Picture this. When we were born, we were given this box. The purpose of this box was to store all the lessons, experiences, and memories every year. As we get older, as we go through more things that help us learn more about our lives, this box just gets bigger and keeps incrementing. Let's take a look at some of the things that I collected in my box this past year. I hope you find my birthday reflections valuable, and I also want to inspire you in finding time to pause and reflect on your own lessons, what you have learned from your own self-reflection. I'm gonna start off by saying that my mind is so powerful. This isn't something new for me. I am a huge advocate on focusing my mind as the source of all great things, but something changed this year. I have been proving to myself for the past few years that whatever we set our minds to, we will achieve. It really comes down to having a right mindset and always striving to utilize it at its full potential. I'm still growing and learning more about my mind. I always wonder how can I make it work for me, and understanding its power even better. To be honest, sometimes it feels like this never-ending yet extremely exciting journey that I'm glad to take every day. I just think about it like, if we use our minds for all activities that we go through in our lives, then why not make our minds our best friend? I try to think about my mind as my biggest superpower. It is so big that if I am not able to control it, it's just going to control me in ways that I may not really want. If we want our minds to transform our lives and make our thoughts reality, we have to do our part and take time to really understand how it really all works. Sometimes we take for granted how many great things we can do and experience using the power of our minds. Our minds are so powerful that they can create our reality. This past year, I have been taking more time to myself and my mind to really understand what are some of the things that I can do that will help my mind work for me instead of the opposite. There are many ways we can do this, but the general concept is to train our minds to align with our heart. I have visualized many things throughout the years without even noticing it, but it wasn't until last year that I was intentional about it. It made me realize how far can I really go just by listening to my little voice inside. One exercise that I have been practicing is just allowing my mind to wander and paying attention to all the thoughts that are going through. Sometimes my mind can get pretty crowded and run very quickly, so taking the time to slow down, reset, is a practice that I see myself doing for many years to come. I learned that I'm in absolute control of the way I feel and the experiences that I have. It's crazy to think, but by speaking into existence and combining that with my confidence, I've seen a lot of things happen to me effortlessly without having to think twice about it. You just have to believe in yourself and truly believe in yourself, and your mind will open up to find the resources, the information, and relationships that you need to be able to achieve anything. Truly believe in yourself and be careful with what you say to yourself, because you might get it. The second lesson is to be myself and to stay in the light. We have the option to choose between being the light or the darkness in every situation we face. Just like everything else, there's always a good or bad and right or wrong. I always try to be the light as much as I can, and this past year I have learned to be intentional about it and try to stay consistent in staying in the light. There are many ways to look at this, but what I try to do is to focus myself on how I react to situations. I have learned to embrace the way that people react and the way that people are, but to focus on being myself and just simply letting others do them. I recognize that I cannot be my best at all times, but I can try being my best all the time. I want to think that when we make a decision, it's because we're confident it's the right one to move forward. Now, this is all about mindset. I have chosen to be confident that the decisions I'm making are good for me. So I am naturally in a better spot when I'm making a decision. I constantly try to be that person that focuses on being on the optimistic side of things, because I think that is the best way to influence the people around me. And I feel like it is a great way for people around me just to feel the energy that we radiate. In general, I just try to focus on what the world really needs, and if this means to give love, then I'm here to give it all. I know I can only control myself, but if you think about it, if we make our part and try to be the better person, then the world will eventually be better, because we're not depending on other people, we're just focusing on our own self. I strive to inspire you all with this platform and do whatever I can to make that positive impact. I hope it's working. Oh, it's raining. I also make changes when necessary to have a different experience. If I find myself in a situation, or if there is something that I'm not happy or that I cannot tolerate, then there's really no reason for me to stick around. If I don't find any value, or if I feel like that experience, situation, or relationship is not beneficial for me, then I just try to do my best to remove myself. This was a really tough one for me, because sometimes I find it hard to let go, but I'm actually happy with the decisions I make, because I know that better things are going to go my way. Lesson 3 is to always push outside of my comfort zone. This is the zone where we feel at our best, not a lot of things feel uncomfortable. We are familiar with everything and we know how to address any situation. The real challenge comes when we push ourselves outside of this comfort zone, where there are tons of unknowns and we have no clear idea on what will happen. I'm always challenging myself, because I have learned that whenever I am feeling scared, it's because that particular thing will make me grow a little bit more. And it just makes me realize that in the end, it is exactly what I should be doing at that moment. If there is an idea, an opportunity, or something crosses and comes my way, I accept it and I take the risk and just go do the thing. I guess that also comes with being very curious. I just tend to wonder, what would my life look like if I did X thing? The only difference is that I just try to go a little bit further, and instead of staying at I wonder what will happen, I just go ahead and try it, and it really usually leads me to the most beautiful experiences. The idea of staying outside of this comfort zone is greater than it may seem. Sometimes we may think that because we did something that pushed us outside of our comfort zone once or twice, then we're good and we're flexible. I have been practicing to continuing staying outside of my comfort zone. I know in this path nothing gets easier. There will always be fear and resistance when doing something new. This is the beauty of having a growth mindset. When we realize we have outgrown our zone, we just keep pushing and pushing until this zone gets bigger, and then we start the cycle again. It never gets easier, but it is what makes you accomplish amazing things. And the feels I get inside from the results are truly worth it. Here's to more years of keep feeling uncomfortable. My fourth lesson is owning who I am and showing up as my higher self. For the longest time, I have been having this feeling like I was playing small. I was feeling like my goals and my ideas were too big or too different, and I kept choosing not to share. I kept choosing to keep my goals to myself. I was basically living a life where I had all this thoughts and ideas, but I wasn't really doing anything to move forward. You know that feeling when you're thinking that you're not living to your full potential? That was me. I already knew that some things have to change in my life. I started this journey and I feel good with myself every day for doing at least one thing that makes me feel like I am showing up as my higher self. I decided to live and breathe who I am and owning what I do every day. I say affirmations to myself to reinforce of all of my ideas and give me the confidence I need to continue showing up. I know that where I am right now, it's perfect and it is exactly where I need to be, but my goal is to continuing finding my higher self and getting closer to that alignment. My fifth lesson, it's all about perspective. It's all about the way that I decide to see my life and the world in general. I learned to thrive in very hard situations, not by choice but by necessity. I was born in Puerto Rico and I had lived in the island all my life. But let's go back to September of 2017. I was in my last semester of college. I was planning on graduating and getting that full-time job right after college. Those were my plans. I was also studying hard for my grades since I was finishing school in December. I was excited for that last semester. Everything just seemed perfectly fine until we got hit by a Category 5 Hurricane Irma, which destroyed the power system in the island, leaving significant damage behind. Exactly 2 weeks after, another Category 5 Hurricane Maria made a landfall. It compounded destructions caused by Irma. No power, no water, no phones, schools closed indefinitely. I no longer had the same plans as 1 month ago. I knew I had plans. I was starting my adult life upon graduation, but how could that be possible if I stayed in a state of emergency and did not take action? I remember there was a conference happening late October in Austin, Texas for the Society of Women Engineers. I climbed to my roof to speak with my brother. He helped me register to my conference and helped me book a flight to Louisiana. I then went to one of the few places offering public hotspot and completed the second part of the registration. After a huge long flight to Louisiana, I rented a car and drove 5 hours to Austin for my conference. I put on my confidence hat and I started to pitch myself to different companies. I received 3 different offers and ended up accepting the one that brought me here to the DMV area. I realized that there can be crazy hurricanes or a global pandemic happening around me, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how I decide to look at the situation and whether I choose to make life as beautiful or as devastating as I want. I learned to be grateful and appreciate every small win. I learned to be present. I changed my mindset to focus on the positive and remain optimistic. It's all about perspective, and if I want to be happy, it's all about how I choose to focus my energy on. Prince, ¿viste eso? I wanted to open up in this video and share with you my life's lessons in hopes that these experiences inspire you in your own journey. And as for myself, I will continue to learn, grow, and love. That kind of sounds like live, laugh, love, but I swear that's not what I meant. See you in the next one.